2.7, Shane? 2.7? Check, check. I think, yeah, thumbs up. Okay, 2.7 is okay.
2.6.
3.57 can go higher. 3.57 higher. 3.57. That's good. 1.1, Shane. 1.1. Welcome to the West Des Moines MLK Day event. If you would please start coming forward and find your seat. We're going to get started pretty soon. I do believe it's possible the food might be being opened as well. And there are drinks on the side here if you'd like to grab a drink. Again, if you wouldn't mind coming up front to your seats, come on forward and grab your food whenever you're ready, and there are drinks on the side.
Plenty of
Okay, everyone, we're going to get started. So if we can get everyone to move towards the front of the room, we're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. Please move to the front. Again, you can grab food as you go. You're welcome to grab food as you go, but we're going to get started officially with the program here in about 25 seconds. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
It's going okay? A few times.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time to be here today. I'm Tiffany Tauschek, and I'm the president and CEO of the Greater Des Moines Partnership, and I am just delighted to be here. We are here in close partnership with the City of West Des Moines, the West Des Moines Community Schools, West Des Moines Historical Society, Des Moines University, Polk County, Taste of the Junction, Meals from the Heartland, and of course, the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce for today's event. So let's pause right now and thank all of these organizations for coming together for this fantastic. And of course, I am just so pleased that we are able to have this event here in the Mid-American Energy Recplex. This facility is a fantastic example of organizations coming together, public-private entities coming together to build something spectacular that benefits the entire community. So I want to thank, of course, our friends with City of West Des Moines and Tom Haddon for his vision and Many's vision on getting this project done. So, you know, this is a very important day, and we are just honored to be here together collectively. And I am especially pleased to have with us some Greater Des Moines Partnership team members who worked and helped in getting this event set up and, of course, being here today. So I'd like to recognize Stacy Robles, our DEI program manager, as well as Emily McLean, our new regional affiliates and member manager. Congratulations, Emily. And I believe if he's not yet in the room, on his way, Juan Pablo Sanchez, our Director of Inclusive Business Strategies. So we know events like this and conversations like this, it's important to have many at the table working together collaboratively. And this is something that we at the partnership focus on. We are a regional economic development and community development organization. We represent 11 counties throughout the region, and of course, including the wonderful city of West Des Moines. And in that footprint, we represent 850,000 residents. Our population in that greater Des Moines area in the last 10 years has increased by 16.3%. And very pleased to say that we've increased our foreign-born population by 50% in that same time period. We are the second highest and fastest growth rate for foreign-born in the entire country, right here in Greater Des Moines. And in that same time period, DSM, our Greater Des Moines region, increased in minority population by 93%. That is incredibly important. That is something that the partnership is committed to, is making sure that this is a welcoming region. We want to say to all talent that we welcome you with open arms. And it's conversations and meetings like this today to just help reinforce that we are in this together, one partnership, one region, and one mission on behalf of this one region. So we have a very fun lineup today, great lineup, great conversation with wonderful leaders that we get to hear from here shortly. While you're here, if you haven't already, please be sure to grab some delicious food that's been lined up from some of our local vendors that, of course, we want to support. AJ's Catering, Shelley's Sugar Shack, Delicious by Lorena, and Jumbo African Cuisine. So please join me in thanking those vendors. And with that, it is my sincere pleasure to introduce to you West Des Moines City Councilwoman and new CEO of LSI, Renee Hardman.
Thank you, Tiffany, and thank you for co-hosting with the City of West Des Moines. We really appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of the Metro and the region, and this is just one example of that. So it's great to see everybody here today. We're going to dive right in because we're on a very limited time schedule. This place is going to be taken over by the caucuses the minute we get ready to pat on our coats, probably as we're putting on our coats. So we do have to move swiftly along the program because there is other more important things that'll be happening here in the Recplex tonight. But it is my pleasure to be able to moderate a panel with this distinguished group of individuals that we are going to talk about. The theme of today's panel is continuing the legacy, creating change through solidarity building. And so we are so excited to hear the voices of those that are in the community, the voices of our young people, and the voices that can help us talk more about the legacy of this great man, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I'm going to take my seat so that you can see each of the panelists as I introduce them. First, we'll start with my right. Al Wumbo, my dear friend. Al is a dedicated community activist who fights for equality, social justice, workers' rights, and everything about equity. Al Wumbo is currently the chair of the Iowa Democratic Black Caucus, chair of the Political Action Committee of the Des Moines branch of the NAACP. He also serves as the state director of the No Justice, No Peace Federal Political Action Committee. That's kind of a long word there, a long title, whose goals are to work on voting rights, addressing the inequalities in healthcare, education, economic development, social justice that affects communities of colors. Thank you, Al. Let's give him a round of applause real quick. Then we have Maria Alonso Diaz, a native of Mexico. Maria has been a victim counselor and advocate at Polk Crisis and Advocacy Service for the last 24 years. You must have started when you were 9 months old. My goodness. Maria believes in the power of community and works to cultivate hope and resilience through advocacy, empowerment, and relationship building. In her spare time, she serves on a variety of boards, including the Des Moines Public Schools Board as a member at large. Thank you for your service. Then we have, as I shared with you, we're going to have also a youth perspective. And it is just with great honor. I've seen this young man from here now to here grow up and represent the community and what he does and everything that he does. But his name is Sir Michael Carrington Williams Thomas. Okay, he's a freshman at Timberland School in Waukee, Iowa. He's an active member of the Student Advisory Leadership Council, speech and debate team, mock trial, and served as chair for the very first Black History Month. Additionally, he is the regional team president for the Central Region of Jack and Jill of America, overseeing the states of Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Colorado. And not that it's on this paper, but he recently received an award from the Secretary of State for his civic engagement and community engagements. And we were so proud. So let's welcome this young man to the panel. April Wells, another friend. April currently serves as the director of the Crimes Victim Advocacy Program at Creative Visions Human Development Institute in Des Moines, Iowa, and serves as a member of the Community Ambassadors Program with the Des Moines Police Department. She is an ordained minister with over a decade of experience in youth ministry. She is also the co-founder of Together We Make Change, understanding that it takes all of us in this community working together peacefully to bring about real change. Thank you, April, for being here today. Finally, we have, yes, Ashley Hartman. I don't like my last name, but with the D instead, fine. Ashley Lamson Hartman is a dynamic and accomplished individual who serves as the Chief Strategy Officer for CIV Plus and Global Source Distribution. In addition to her corporate leadership roles, Ashley is a dedicated advocate for inclusivity and equality. She serves on the board of the LGBTQ Chamber and works to create spaces where everyone can thrive and contribute their unique perspectives. Wow, what a panel. Give her a round of applause as we get started here. So let's get into it. Today's theme, as you all know, is about solidarity. And we all know that Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream that we would all unify around making this world a better place by dealing with many of the issues that are so important to each of you. So we don't have this to no more than 2.5 minutes so we can get through the rest of the questions. But all of you will have an opportunity to address this, and then we'll have select panels address the other questions that I have. Can you tell us about the work that you lead and how the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. informs your approach to solidarity building? So Al, we'll have you start.
So my work has a lot to do in the atmosphere. Whoa. Usually I don't need a mic, so making sure that we get people educated about voting, register to vote, and to be involved in their communities themselves. You know, one of the things that I've often told people is that if you don't see a candidate that you like running for office, then that means you need to make sure that you run. And so it's about educating people about the process. It's about making sure that everybody understands that they can be involved. There's no special qualifications you have to have in order to be involved in your community politically. You just have to have a desire, issues that you care about, and decide that at the end of the day, when everybody else goes home and has beer and pizza, I'm going to decide it's time for me to work on my community.
I think that the work that I do currently I serve on the board, on the Des Moines School Board. However, prior or aside from that, I also have been coordinating a community soccer program that started 11 years ago. And I do this in my free time. And what I've learned is that the power of people lies in their voice. And I have learned that it is my responsibility, because I am on a platform where I can assist and support, it is my responsibility to make sure that I am holding myself accountable and speaking about those pathways that need to be made so that people can have their voice heard. People have a voice. It's just that we sometimes forget to make the pathways and the space for the voices to be heard.
Hello. For me, as my role as the Central Region Team President of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
As my role as the Regional Team President of the Central Region of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, me and my cabinet, when we make decisions, we want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, that it's not just in the eyes and like presence, not presence, but it's not in our own liking that we feel like that we should do this just because we like it. We want to make sure that everyone is heard, that everyone has a voice, that everyone feels like, hey, if I don't like something, then we want to make sure that I can address it to your leadership team, that we will do something about it. And it's all about just taking advice from other people. And especially being over 7 states, it can be hard listening to everyone. But in that building that solidarity, it is just making sure that we all feel like we can be heard. And even when our grownups and mothers help us to make decisions, it can be really hard. So we just make sure that we listen. We also make decisions based on our best conscience.
Thank you. I want to say many of us in this room could probably not lead a conference with 7 states. And here we have a young person that is in high school, that is the leader of 7 states and all of the chapters of Jack and Jill that make up that. So we applaud you, and let's show him some love as he really shares with us. And what he was saying is listening to all voices. And that's what Martin Luther King's dream was about, is listening to voices, whether we agree with them or not, right, Carrington? But they all want to be heard. So thank you, thank you, thank you. April?
So in my work at Creative Visions, in the Crime Victims Advocacy Program, I don't just direct the program, I'm an advocate also. And how that, really exemplifies Dr. King's legacy, just being able to advocate and fight for and be a voice for the voiceless, those that are victimized. And so at Creative Visions, one of the main things that one of our mottos or ways that we operate is that we treat everybody the same coming inside. And so we serve a marginalized community, people with various victimizations, and they need to be treated with dignity and respect, and to know that they have value just like anyone else and everyone else. So we find ourselves dealing with a lot of crisis, dealing with a lot of violence and victimizations. And I just want to leave with everyone you may not be victimized today. It might not be you today or your family today, but it might be you or your family tomorrow or the next day or this year. And so we just want to make sure that we're treating everybody the same and that we're there when people need, in their time of need and when they're victimized. And you'd be surprised how many families and how many of each of us struggle with people being victimized in our families, just things that you wouldn't think about. So I would just say that making sure that we're standing in the gap for people that need it and that are victimized, because as Dr. King said, a threat to justice, you know, how does it go? Anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, excuse me. And so again, just because it might not be your crisis today, it might be tomorrow.
Hello, thank you for coming out and bearing this cold out here today. The work that I lead and the approach that I follow to best match MLK's journey is to really elevate the community and elevate the people around me. I'm a firm believer when you elevate the people around you, everybody is left to elevate. Can I get an amen for that? Yes, thank you, thank you. I'm with the Iowa LGBT Chamber. It was established a couple of years ago. Really, it should have been established about 10 years ago. But we really work to bring LGBT business owners together to show them that they do have a voice. And we also bring like-minded people that are not LGBT, but they own a business to join us. Because at the end of the day, the more diverse we can be, that's how perspective changes. That's how change happens. And that's how we change the world. I'm a firm believer. It's not about what's here in front of us right now. It's what or how could it be? What could it be? And that's what it's all about. And so through the LGBT Chamber, that's the approach that we go with, working with businesses, certifying them to show them that they are people, they are humans, because at the end of the day, we're all human, we all have a heart, but we may just have a few differences, and we got to set those aside.
Hold on to your microphone. I'm going to have one panelist address this question, and if you don't mind doing that, I'd appreciate it. Is how can we build solidarity across diverse communities and address the intersections of race, gender, age, social economic status, political identities, and many other factors? How do we ensure solidarity efforts are inclusive and considerate of various identities and life experiences? A lot, but I can repeat it, but I hope
No, it's a great question. I'm going to do my best. I got this.
Thank you.
So I think honestly, the best way to approach this question is people have to have a voice. They have to know that they're heard. And I know a couple panelists up here have said that today, but you can't just say that you want people to be heard. You have to put in the work to actually allow them to be heard. And my perspective from the LGBT community, as well as being a private business entrepreneur, chief strategy officer, the employees, we want to see them grow and we want to see what their passions are. And that's on us to provide them outlets and resources, whether that's the LGBT side, whether that's the Latino community, and bringing those in a part of our business so that they have outreaches. And to be honest, you have to have a diverse leadership group to make that possible. So I'm a huge firm believer that the more people that you can bring in, that's diverse leadership, gives a voice to those people that can't be at the table. And I'm a firm believer that that's important.
Okay. And we hear a lot that we want everyone's voices to be heard. And I think most all of us do. But what does that look like? What does that look like, April? We talk that talk because it sounds good and we probably have good intentions, but how does it happen?
It happens because we need to be intentional about going into other communities, number one. So that's one of the things that we don't do. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay. We have to be intentional about going into other communities of people that don't look like us or don't have the same background as us. So it takes a high level of intentionality, number one, and then a willingness to collaborate and not compete. That's very important. It also takes a high level of integrity. If we're going to be able to do this, we have to have the high level of integrity, and we have to be honest with one another. And so difficult conversations, I've heard you mentioned earlier, we don't always agree, and that's okay, as long as we're respectful and as long as we give everyone a voice, and not only let them speak, but listen and hear, and then do something about it once we do that. So what it looks like to me is showing up in different communities, showing up in West Des Moines, in Urbandale, in Des Moines, in whatever neighborhood, in the urban core. It takes showing up intentionally, letting people know that you care and that you're there and that you're willing to walk with them through whatever they're going through. Just to give an example, just last week, I saw you and many others. We were in Missouri, right? We showed up, during that time. So that's what it takes. People are moved when they see your presence and when they see that you understand and care about what they're going through as well.
Thank you, April. Yeah, and that was a moment when we were in Perry, sitting in that church, a moment where there were no strangers. We were all there because they needed a hug. People needed to cry. People needed to share their experiences. I actually talked to a lady that was died, and the one that shot himself, and she was just distraught. So we need to show up and be there. Presence matters. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate seeing you there too, April. So let's move on to another question, and I'm going to have Sir Michael answer this question, and I might call on another panelist for a little follow-up. The work and moving towards solidarity does have its challenges. If it was easy, we wouldn't even have this panel. We wouldn't have to be doing what we're doing today. So as a young person, what challenges do you feel there are out there in helping to move the needle to Martin Luther King's dream of solidarity and love for one another? What might be challenges that you've seen in places where you've been at school or your organizations?
Especially at school, I see where some people might think it's a joke to say that, well, not really listen to each other. I know that we've had a lot of talks on the student council and leadership board that we want everyone to feel heard, and that if you don't feel accepted at school or that you don't feel like you belong, it can be a really hard place to learn. And we all know that school is about learning. So as a group, as a community, I want to make sure that everyone feels that they can feel like they belong, that they have a place to go, talk to people, meet new people, have long-lasting relationships. Especially in Jack and Jill, with my board, we want to make sure that everyone has a place to build friendships and relationships, because that's what everyone needs at a point in time in their life, just to be able to talk to people, feel like they belong, and have a place that they can just feel like themselves. And I feel like that's one thing that Dr. Martin Luther King stood for.
Thank you so much. And just to follow up on that just a little bit, as a young person, the gentleman that walked into Perry, I'm hearing stories that he felt bullied, obviously. So as a young man and as a student today, how do we address some of the young people out here, or even us as adults, on bullying? And what do we do when we see it or hear it? What's our responsibility? What would Martin Luther King want us to do?
First, I'm sure that Martin Luther King Jr. would say, bullying is not all right. It's not cool. At our school, in Milwaukee, we have a saying, be a warrior and not a bully. And so if you've experienced bullying or you see bullying going on, go talk to that person, say, hey, this is not cool. You should not be doing this. But also go talk to a trusted adult, advisor, teacher, etc. It can either be a parent or a best friend, and just say, hey, I don't feel safe, or this person is making me feel comfortable, or they are bullying me. And then you can work towards a better goal of talking to that person and making sure, hey, is there something going on with you that you feel like you should put all this anger on me, right? That's sometimes most of the case, that someone feels like either something's going on at home or in friend groups, that they feel like I should take my anger out on this person that does not deserve it. So that's what I would say to young people of my age, and even older people, grown-ups, that if you see it's going on and you don't feel like it's right, use your voice and say, hey, don't do this. This is not cool. And also to help people that, and also one thing, people that are bullied that I've noticed, especially at school, that they feel like they don't have a voice. And so one thing that I'm sure Martin Luther King Jr. would say, make sure that you comfort those people and teach them that they have a voice to stand up for what they believe in and stand up for what is right, so that that does not happen to them and anyone else.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope young people and adults have heard that message. Silence has consequences, right? Sometimes we think we can just walk away and pretend we don't see it, but silence and inaction has serious consequences. So I like that you said, do something, speak up, and it's about connections. It's about connecting. So that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I'm going to move then to Al, and then we're going to have you answer a question to Maria. But Al, how do you measure the impact of solidarity building initiatives, and what are the indicators of community success? Because I really feel, Al, we're living in a world of a lot of divisiveness. I feel it. I get anxious about it. It's either this or that, nothing in between. So I don't know. Are we making progress? And if so, how do I know? And what are those success factors?
Well, first of all, we have to realize that progress and any sort of achievement that we have is not something that is going to last unless we take care of it. We can't just say we accomplished this one thing and then stop. It is like a rose. We have to tend it. We have to love it. We have to care for it. Otherwise, it will wither and die. And we also have to realize that when it comes to success in something, maybe it's not in all areas, but what we have to realize is maybe there are things that we disagree on, but what is the one thing that we do agree on that we can actually work at together and make progress on that and get commitments from one another? And I think the other thing that we need to understand when we are, measuring this is also understanding ourselves and our community. That although you may identify as one thing, you have connections to several different communities. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm sorry, but I have a father that was a veteran. I have a mother who is from a rural area. My oldest daughter is autistic. My youngest daughter was the president of the Grandview Pride Club. And my wife was a female athlete. Whether you realize it or not, you personally have connections to several different communities out there, not just one community. So don't identify as one thing. Say that one other thing that about myself, I realize I can see in someone else. Russ Trimble is a bulldog, just like I am. And we both care about West Des Moines. So we can get together and work on stuff together. Even though I've heard that he's a Packers fan, but I suppose I can forgive that. But you have to say that success is measured by how well you tend to thing, not just how you dealt with it one time.
And I so appreciate you sharing that just in your own household, there is all complexities of diversity there. And at some point in time in our families and our lives, we all have interactions with folks that have some of those kinds of traits and identities. So thank you. Thank you. Maria, why volunteer school board member? I said work, but volunteer. Let's make it real clear. What might be some measures of success as it relates to solidarity in the school district? As a board member, what do you see?
How do you measure solidarity in a school district? Wow. I've only been there 2 years.
Okay, all
So
right.
that's not a fair
You got 2
question.
more
Let's go on
years
to the
to
next
do it.
one.
Okay,
I'm
all
kidding,
right,
I'm
okay.
kidding. I think that you can measure, I measure solidarity when I can push back and when I am questioned, and when after the questions, more questions come, but those questions are more about, hey, so what do we need to do to keep doing what you did that you weren't supposed to do? So when you push or question the status quo. And people are curious about what would happen if we kept doing that. That to me is success. That's how you find out that there are a lot of people that are like-minded, but that maybe have not had the opportunity to use their voice or be heard.
Good, thank you, thank you. Well, in interest of time, I'm going to get us back on schedule here. I'd like for everyone to address very, very briefly this final question, okay? I'd like for you to give us a call to action. And I know we've heard about having people be heard and all of that. What is the final message that you would like to share with this captive audience about Martin Luther King's dream and how we keep it alive? We'll start with you. So you have the mic, which we can start.
I have the mic.
Okay.
It has to be about people.
Okay.
It always will be, and it has to remain about people all the time.
Okay.
It's always people. People first.
Okay. All right. People strategy first. Okay. Sir Michael? Give him that mic.
I would just say use your position and the position that you're in to serve other people and not just make it about yourself. I know that's one thing that I love to live by. And I'm sure Martin Luther King Jr. Lived by is serving other people. That can go a whole long way than you just doing things to benefit yourself, the people around you. But you also have to think, how can this benefit what I'm doing, benefit the people that are not immediately right by me? How does this benefit the people in Waukee or in Perry or in other places? So that's how I would answer that question.
Waukee, I don't know if you're out there, but you better watch out. I can see Waukee City Council person walking, giving a speech and talking about how you serve others. So good, thank you, thank you. It's about serving others, regardless of what you think and what your positions are. Okay, sounds great, thank you. April?
What I would say is be sure to value and appreciate the work that others are already doing and have been doing. That's what I want to leave you with. And if you don't know, go find out. You should know more than what you do and more than what's going on in your particular area or your organization. And so if you need help valuing and appreciating, go volunteer, go find out, go show up somewhere else and see what they're doing, and then see how you can work together and really take a community and go further when you collab and work together.
Great. Ashley, and we'll have Al have the last word on the question.
Overall, be willing to be authentic and transparent and get uncomfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, you're growing. And oftentimes it, forces people, that doesn't force people, but it entices people to put themselves in an uncomfortable situation. And once you've been through it and you can show people that this is okay, we can grow together, you create unity. So I think that's very important to carry on.
Okay. I like getting uncomfortable, because that's something that some people are nervous. They're walking on eggshells. They don't know what to say or to do, but you do grow and learn when you become uncomfortable. Go to events where you're in the minority for a change and see what that feels like. Interact with the folks that look different than yourselves. That's just one little thing that a person can do. So great, thank you. Al, last word on this question. Then we're going to conclude with the panel.
So I would say that, my favorite picture of Dr. Martin Luther King is this. He's walking down the National Mall towards the Lincoln Memorial for the 1963 March for Jobs and Freedom. And he is walking next to a Muslim and a Jewish man, and a Hispanic person, a white man, and a black man. They're all marching to make their society better. They stood together in a time of hatred, in a time of fear, and said that we can stand together. We can make a difference. And do that today. Don't look around you and say, this is impossible, this is too much. Look around and say, how can I do this? Who can I ally with? And who can I be friends with so that we can make a change? Don't think that you were too small to do something. Dr. King was only 26 years old when he started in the movement, and the man was only 5'8" high. Somebody might have said he was too small, but you know what? he was somebody who said, I'm not too small, and I'm bringing all of you with me. So say that, think that, and do that. Thank you.
Wow. Woo! Wonderful, wonderful words. Thank you so very, very much. And it is emotional, Al, when we really think about the struggle and where we're going and the challenges and the wins that we're facing as we're going upstream dealing with this. It's emotional. It really is. It can tug at your heart, but let's stay in this together. I'm going to say, first of all, let's give this panel one more round of applause. I love their voices. I love their pearls of wisdom. I love the authentic voices that you brought to it. And the community is better because each of you are serving. The community is better because you're there. And I'll conclude with a quote, if I can get it back up here, that I think is appropriate. I know there are a lot of quotes out there for Dr. Martin Luther King Day, but one that I think that is appropriate for this particular panel is, as he said in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, we must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. So let's all live together as brothers and sisters and love one another, respect our differences, affirm our personal space of who we are, and let's do this work together. So again, thank you so very much. We're going to move along. Feel free to go back in the back. I smell the food. We'll let this panel go so that they can eat and get some partake in the food. So this is eating and listening and talking all at the same time here. Because again, we do have a timetable where I have to be out of this room at a certain time for the caucuses to set up. So I will now call Audrey forward, and she will then lead us into the other segments of our program. Let's have the panel. Thank you all very, very much. I'll have you take your seats and be comfortable.
Thank you. And again, thank you. Let's thank Councilwoman Renee Hardman for an incredible job moderating this panel. And then what I love about her, she makes it look easy, right? We are on a very short time schedule, as Councilwoman Hardman mentioned. But again, this conversation is very important, right? And so how do we continue to build solidarity? Again, it's you in the room. And so we show up today, but we got to keep showing up tomorrow and every day thereafter. So at this point, as Councilwoman Hartman said, there is food in the back. If you all want to grab some food, feel free to do so. And then we're going to transition to the second half of the program with our MLK Day celebration. So we have about 5 minutes. Take a restroom break real quick, grab some food, and then we'll get started. Thank you.
I'll be curious. Like, I never got to do those. I don't know. I don't know if they're official ones out. So, and really, the content.
Perfect. Okay. Everyone get seated? Okay. Time, where are we at? Okay, everyone, if we want to get seated, we're going to get started with the second half of the program. You don't mind. Okay, so we're going to take a seat for a second and then we're going to watch the video. Welcome to the City of West Des Moines Day of Impact, where we come together with community partners and you, our community members, to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King and reflect on the lasting impact he has had on our community.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day isn't just a day off, it's a day on. It's a time to reflect on the progress that we've made and the work still to be done. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream of equality is something that we all need to actively pursue.
Martin Luther King Jr. paved the way for civil rights, inspiring generations. His legacy challenges us to stand up against injustice, especially when it's hard and uncomfortable. This day is a reminder that we have the ability to enact change, to make a difference.
In the heart of West Des Moines, we see the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. each and every day. Martin Luther King Day is a time for service, action, and deeper understanding, and a call to continue his mission of radical love and equality.
Growing up, I've learned a lot about the life and philosophy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's important to remember his teachings, not just in history class, but in daily life. MLK Day is to connect the dots of the past, present, and future.
In West Des Moines, MLK Day is a celebration of diversity, a commitment to upholding our shared humanity, and a day to honor a man whose dream continues to shape our community. Let's use this day to reflect, to learn, and to stand together in the spirit of Dr. King.
Thank you for joining us in celebrating MLK Day and making a difference in our community. Together, we will keep the dream alive. Okay, folks. Okay, we're going to be in the dark just for a few minutes, but the lights will be on shortly. Awesome. Okay, well, welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Audrey Kennis. I go by she pronouns. I am
Good afternoon. My name is Tiffany Birkenes. I go by she, her pronouns, and I chair the Human Rights Commission. We're excited to see you all today. And today's event would not be possible without the support of our incredible planning team and sponsors. If you are present, please stand if able, as well as the Human Rights Commission members.
Please stand. So if you're on the planning team, there's plenty of y'all in here.
Yeah.
Sponsors,
Please stand.
commissioners, please take a stand.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. As you can see, it takes quite a few people to really be able to pull an event like this off. I also want to talk about something that happened earlier today. For those who are able to attend the Meals from the Heartland packaging event, we had over 120,000 meals that were packaged as of about 1 o'clock today. And we're not done yet. Pretty awesome. The best part, I will say, you all, are these meals are going to stay locally in Central Iowa. So sometimes they will send these meals out globally, right? And they go all across the nation. We got Greg over here in the corner. It's good to see you, Greg. But again, the beautiful part is we are really making a direct impact in our community here locally. And so this is really the spirit of what Dr. King talks about with his beloved community, a community of care where we come together and we roll up our sleeves and do service and learn together and work together and, more importantly, build a sustainable community together. So thank you for everyone who was able to come out and participate. Last, I want to thank you all for making it out today in spite of this weather, right? None of us were probably really excited about going out in this type of cold, right? And we had a lot of conversation of, do we move forward? Do we not? But I'm going to tell you all, it was critically important that we move forward. And you would have to move, I would say, mountains for me to cancel this event, because it's important for us to recognize, even though we are experiencing cold, what I think about what Dr. King and many other civil rights activists had to experience, from again, being attacked by dogs and water hoses and being in prison and everything else that came with it, we can endure the cold for a few hours, right? We're indoors. And so we're going to be okay. And I'm proud of you all for showing up still in spite of, because this could have been an excuse, but right, we chose to still keep showing up. And so I thank you all. Again, keep showing up after today, right? As our panelists talked about, it's not just today, right? This is an ongoing journey where we need to show up for each other, not just events, but each other. So I thank you all for that. And as we really quick review today's program, this just gives you a quick layout. I know Councilwoman Renee Harbin earlier mentioned that we're on a tight timeline. So again, we want you to enjoy the time here, the conversation that's happening, but we do have to get out of this space pretty quickly at 5 o'clock just to prepare for again the caucuses this afternoon. So that's important. Again, that's also a part of this day. It's a national day of service and civic engagement. So we want to make sure that everyone is able to exercise their right to get out, caucus, vote, and everything else that comes with that. So at this time, I would like to welcome Regina Turner and Solomon Smith, two highly accomplished and versatile singers with over 15 years of experience. Their powerful and soulful voices have captivated audiences across various platforms for their stirring rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing. At this time, I would like to welcome again Regina and Solomon to the stage, and I will ask you all to stand if able. On your table are lyrics for Lift Every Voice and Sing as we partake collectively. I want you all to sing with us, right? But we're going to partake collectively and lift all our voices as they lead us.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. We greatly appreciate it. Like she mentioned before, we would love for you to follow along with us. Everyone has a handout.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing.
All right. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let all rejoicing raise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Oh. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the day when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place from where our people sigh. We have
over the place that the tears haven't watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Oh, out of the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, true to the white gleam of thy star was cast.
God of all wearies, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us so long away, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Forever path we pray. Bless our feet straight from the places, our God, where we met thee. Bless our hearts drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shine beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our name, to
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can we say wow? Okay, listen, that was amazing. Give them another round of applause. At this time, I would like to welcome to the stage Mayor Russ Trimble.
This is really embarrassing. I'm realizing I'm wearing the exact same outfit that I wore in that video. But this is my warmest outfit. So I just want to first thank everybody for coming here on braving this weather. It is ridiculously cold out there. I know this event has grown every single year, and it really makes me proud. And there's no doubt in my mind that every single table in here would be filled if it were not for negative 20, 30 degrees out right now. I want to start out really quickly, and this is dangerous because every time I do, I forget somebody, but I want to honor the elected officials that are here today. And I want to start with my own city council folks. So Councilman Greg Hudson, our Ward 2 city councilman, if you can stand up quick. Councilman Matt McKinney, at large, if you could stand up. Councilwoman Renee Hardman. And I don't know if Lotz is here or Trevelyan. Okay, I don't see them here. Supervisor Matt McCoy, if you could stand up. I don't know, I've seen Mary Wells here before. I don't know if she's here. Polk County Auditor. Okay, I don't see Mary. I forgot her one year, so I want to make sure I recognize her this time. There she is. Oh, Mary, yep. Representative Mary Madison as well, our state representative over here. Any of our state senators here? Okay, I don't see them. Also, I want to recognize our 6th councilman, one of the best city managers in the country, City Manager Tom Haddon, who is here. Deserves a lot of credit for how the city's doing. Moving on, I know we have Des Moines School Board member Maria Alonso Diaz here, who is on the panel, if she could stand up. And from Windsor Heights City Council, Dr. Joseph Jones is here as well, if he could stand up. West Des Moines School Board member Finette Elliott, I know, is here. And I've also got to recognize Dr. Angela Franklin as well, because I think last year I recognized Rob Denson from DMAC and skipped over Dr. Angela Franklin. So I want to recognize Dr. Angela Franklin here from DMU as well. Okay, have I forgotten any elected officials, school board members, city council members from around the area? If so, please stand up. Anybody that I forgot, please stand up. Don't be embarrassed. Okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace. We're going to move on. Thank you, elected officials, for being here. Really appreciate it. This is an unbelievable day. I'm extremely proud to be the mayor of this city, to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day and honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was an incredible man, one of the greatest leaders of all times. My son actually is going to the memorial today for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He lives about a few blocks away from it in Atlanta, Georgia. And I had the opportunity of being there, getting to see that and seeing the church that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached in with his father when he was a young man. Got to hear the story about how a traveling salesman had come in from Montgomery, Alabama, and they were looking for a pastor there, and he had seen Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preach. And so he came to that church. They said, we're looking for a pastor in Montgomery. And he said, Martin Luther King Jr. is a guy that we need to bring in. They brought him over to Montgomery, Alabama, to be the preacher of a church there. And Rosa Parks got taken off the bus not that long after he had arrived there. And in the basement of that church is where the civil rights movement started. And I'll tell you, it's one of the most moving things to be there and to see where the civil rights movement started. So without further ado, I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equity, social justice, and opportunity for all, challenging everyone to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. Whereas despite his untimely death, Dr. King's teachings continue to guide us in addressing perennial challenges in our communities. And whereas we are forever indebted to him for his sacrifice, so we honor his life each year by recognizing the profound impact he had locally and globally. Whereas millions of Americans had been inspired by the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to challenge injustice, serve with compassion, and center the lives of those in the margins. And whereas each of us has a responsibility to contribute to making our communities better with increased access and opportunity for all residents. And whereas the King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, is one of only 2 federal holidays commemorated as National Day of Service and offers the opportunity for individuals to give back to their communities through partnerships. And whereas I encourage West Des Moines residents to make it a day on and not a day off by volunteering with agencies like Meals from the Heartland or throughout the year with our Human Services Department to help feed our most food insecure residents. Now, therefore, I, Russ Trimble, Mayor of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, do hereby proclaim January 15th, 2024, Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a day of service in West Des Moines and call upon the community to pay tribute to the life and works of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today and throughout the year. And today actually is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Today, if he were alive, he'd be 95 years old. So happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, everybody, and thank you all for coming out to celebrate. Really appreciate that. And with that, I will recognize fellow Councilwoman Renee Hardman.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's give our mayor one more round of applause. Appreciate his support of Martin Luther King Jr. Day and wonderful things that are going on in our city. Right now, I get the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker. And he is known in this room by many of you, but there might be a few that don't know him. But he will be addressing us today and giving us the message that helps us truly recognize the importance of this dream and the importance of this man. But Dr. Salas, Rich A. Salas, serves as the Chief Diversity Officer at Des Moines University and is also an assistant professor for the Behavioral Medicine and Bioethics Department. Dr. Salas serves on the executive leadership team at DMU. His work includes creating and developing diversity and inclusion programming focused on providing students and faculty and staff training, knowledge, skills, and overall awareness around cultural competency and humility. For over 30 years, Dr. Salas has helped organize and facilitate countless diversity leadership conferences, retreats, workshops at the local, state, and national level. He has developed comprehensive programming that addresses the complex intersection of cultural diversity and healthcare. Dr. Salas also has served on the Human Rights Commission, West Des Moines Human Rights Commission, from 2018 to 2022. He also is chair of the Proteus Incorporated Advisory Council and is involved with several councils and committees in West Des Moines and the surrounding area. I don't know where he finds all the free time. The Business Records LGBTQ Legacy Leader Award, he was a recipient of that in 2023, and the DEI Leader of the Year in 2021 by the West Des Moines Chamber DEI Workplace Awards. He's a graduate of the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education, Chief Diversity Officers Fellows Program. He has a master's degree in human resources. I did not know that until just recently. And a PhD in educational leadership and organizational change from Colorado State University. Important job. And that is, I should say important role is being a father to his children. Ernesto, Diego, Richie, Danielle, and being a spouse to his most beautiful, gorgeous wife. I added that in there because I know that's what he means. Beatrice Silva Salas. Let's give why don't you all wave here? His beautiful family is with him. In his spare time, why don't you start moving forward, Dr. Salas? He enjoys traveling and playing with guitarists, I probably didn't say that right, sorry, band, ATM band, and jamming with the DMU's own Muscle Energy Band. As I take my seat, I want to just say to you, Dr. Salas, all of these are words that mean a lot because you've accomplished a lot. But what I want to say is that you are a friend, a brother, an activist, an impactful disruptor, and one of the leading DEI experts in the region. So we welcome you to this stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me in the back? Yeah, great. I told Renee I was going to pay her later for that great introduction. I wasn't quite sure who she was talking about, but thank you so much, Renee. You're a special friend. You know, I was listening to the panel a bit ago, just like we all were, and they did a fabulous job. They talked about, I took some notes down, solidarity, elevating people, inclusivity, listen to hear, unity, the list goes on. So you probably don't need to hear from me. Here's my speech. It's titled My Speech. Dr. King also had notes. He was a great orator. I think of all time, he was the best speaker. I love Obama, but wow, Dr. King was something else. I'm nowhere close to that, so I need some talking points. I want to go off on a bird walk, because I can do that, and we have a limited amount of time. So thank you again, Renee, for your kind introduction. As Renee mentioned, my name is Rich Salas. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'd like to start by acknowledging, paying respect to the Native American indigenous land that we're standing on today. Thank you. It's an honor and privilege to share a few words with you as we celebrate the legacy of Dr. King. Celebrating his legacy is just as important today as it was when he was alive during the civil rights movement. You know, unfortunately, there is so much polarization, so much hate and division in our world today, in our own country. So it would be good to remember and practice what Dr. King talked about: the power of love, compassion, and respect. This is what Dr. King did for 39 years. Like my friend Al said, he started, at 26? Actually started way before that. But in a short amount of time, look at what we're still doing today. We're still working towards that dream. Those main tenets that he talked about. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I thank you, like everyone else has been saying. It's a cold day out there. I'm not ashamed to say I've got long johns on. I got a turtleneck on and bundled up. But it means a lot for you to be here. I'd like to first thank the West Des Moines Human Rights Commissioners, along with the incredible Audrey Kennis. Just give it up for Audrey. She's something else. And of course, Rob Morgan for reaching out and inviting me to speak. I also want to thank the West Des Moines City Council members, City Manager Tom Haddon and his staff, as well as our Mayor Russ Trimble. Now, I certainly appreciate the leadership from Catherine Harrington and the West Des Moines Chamber, Dr. Marvin Tejer, and the Greater Des Moines Partnership, and of course, all the Planning Committee members. Thank you. We appreciate you. But I do want to give a special thanks to West Des Moines Councilwoman Hardman for her continued leadership, her vision, and commitment to social justice anywhere and everywhere she's at, not just on Sundays. I know one thing for sure. I've learned this. When a Black woman has a passion, courage, and a bold vision to accomplish or start something, whether it's big or small, watch out. Support them, believe them, and don't be surprised of all the positive things that can happen as a result. I know firsthand, not just the great accomplishments of not only Councilwoman Renee Hardman, but by the ongoing and stellar leadership of our own DMU president. You've already met her, Dr. Angela Walker Franklin. If you hadn't had a chance I know it's been cold out, but just drive about a half a mile that way, west, and make sure you look to your right. You'll see an 88-acre, state-of-the-art, graduate level medical health science institution. It's right there. The bold visionary, Dr. Franklin. So again, I think it merits to repeat. Believe them, support them. And if you don't, just move out of the way. Let me say that a little louder. Just move out of the way if you don't want to get on board. Or move out of town. Ooh, that's, ooh, ooh. Okay. I'm going to give away my age. Some of you might be old enough to remember that dreadful day, specifically April 4th, 1968. Some of you may not weren't even a thought then. I do. I was 10 years old, living in Uvalde, Texas. I was playing marbles in the room where my mom was ironing. She'd iron on the side for a nickel a shirt, 10 cents for a pant, just to make extra money. Came from a very poor background. My mom, I remember, was listening to the radio. Every now and then she'd sing. She was a pretty good singer. I don't know the song, but all of a sudden, there was interruption on the radio. When I looked up, my mom was crying. I froze. I was scared. And then, after a few seconds, I asked my mom, ¿Qué pasó, mami? ¿Por qué lloras? What's wrong, Mom? My mom, in tears, looked at me and said, Ay Dios, mataron a Reverendo King. That translates to, oh my God, they killed Reverend Martin Luther King. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know who he was. I then asked my mom, pero mami, ¿quién era ese señor King? Mom, who was this guy King? My mom said, of course, distressed, crying, sad, Mijo, un día vas a saber quién es King. Son, someday you're going to know who King was. You know, I thank God for women like my mother, who had a deep respect for Dr. King. So when we reflect on the life and legacy of Dr. King, let's not forget that he worked with many women and women's rights groups during the civil rights movement. Dr. King worked with women like Dorothy Height of the National Council of Negro Women. Together, they advocated for both racial and gender equality. Their combined work focused on the importance of inclusivity and intersectionality. Dr. King's support of Women's Political Council during the Montgomery bus boycott, and the support from women like Joanne Robinson, who played a pivotal role in organizing the boycott. That was just amazing how he was able to do that. Dr. King's marches, speeches, and acts of civil disobedience weren't limited to African American, the African American community, but for all who believed in equality and justice, white, black, brown, different religions, faiths. You get it. He collaborated with people from many diverse backgrounds, understanding that solidarity was a tapestry of diverse cultures, beliefs, and experiences. King's ability to unite people from all levels of society in the pursuit of a common goal remains a timeless lesson even today. His legacy and work challenges us to embrace our differences, to stand in solidarity against injustice, and to continue the journey towards a more inclusive and equitable society. I'd like to share a few more examples of this solidarity work that he was involved with because it pertains to us here in West Des Moines and the surrounding areas. The iconic 1963 March on Washington was a powerful display of unity among various racial and ethnic groups advocating for what? For civil and economic rights. He supported another one of my heroes, Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta from the United Farm Workers Union in their struggle for fair wages and better working conditions. He saw their cause as part of the broader fight for justice and equality. Dr. King worked to build alliances and coalitions with leaders of various ethnicities, religions, to advance civil rights causes. He recognized the importance of solidarity. You'll hear that emerging through the panel, through my comments, hopefully within the networks that you have. That's so important, especially nowadays. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, a prominent Jewish theologian, marched alongside King at the forefront of the civil rights movement. Their partnership highlighted the unity between African Americans and Jewish Americans in their shared pursuit of equality and justice. Many Jewish individuals and organizations supported the fight against segregation during the Albany movement. That was in 1961. As a Des Moines University employee, and Dr. Franklin, you know this, I'm proud that our distinguished DMU graduate, Dr. William Anderson, a trailblazing osteopathic physician, was among the founders and served as president of the Albany movement. Dr. Anderson and his wife, Norma, joined Dr. King and other citizens to challenge racial segregation. Dr. Anderson is still alive today. I believe he's about 90 years old, young, 90 years young, I should say. A lot of energy, great spirit. Dr. King aimed to foster bipartisan support. Listen to this, by engaging both Democratic and Republican politicians to push for civil rights legislation. He worked closely with Democratic President Lyndon B. Johnson to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. He also worked with Republican Senator Everett Dirksen, who played a critical role in garnering Republican support for these landmark pieces of legislation. God, I wish we could do that today. And we still can. Excuse me. Are you with me? I didn't go to church this Sunday. I usually check out church online. But if there's something that moves you, makes you think a little bit, it's okay to say amen. Or okay. Or however that unfolds. Yeah, that's all right too. Dr. King collaborated with the Japanese American Citizens League. He worked with leaders like Mike Masaoka to advocate for civil rights. He stood in solidarity with Filipino American labor leaders like Larry Itliong during the Delano grape strike in 1965. While Reverend King didn't directly engage in activism for the LGBTQ community, his friend and advisor, Bayard Rustin, I don't know if you've checked out the latest Netflix movie about him. Wow. These are only a few examples that demonstrate King's commitment to foster solidarity and collaboration among people of diverse backgrounds. Rustin was openly gay and organized the March, Jobs and Freedom. It says wrap up, but golly, I'm going to ask for a few more minutes. That's just not going to work right now. I prepared this from my heart to you, so give me a few more minutes. I respect you, Rochelle, but please put that sign down just for now. Thank you. Beyond the bounds of racial justice, Dr. King's vision encompassed a profound belief in unifying force of solidarity. He understood that to effect real change, unity among people of all races and backgrounds was imperative. His famous words, I know someone mentioned it earlier, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. This particular quote really is the echo and the essence of that belief. I'm glad that addressed injustices, but I believe you would all agree that we still have some more work to do. Throughout his life, Reverend King worked tirelessly to build bridges between communities, fostering understanding and empathy. He realized that solidarity wasn't merely a concept, but an active pursuit, one that demanded action and engagement and dialogue, and a shared commitment to justice. When I said earlier that the foundation of love, kindness, and nonviolence were always central to King's work, this does not imply, hear me out please, this does not imply that we do not speak truth to power, or mean that because we show love and kindness to people with differing views, that we are going to allow them to trample on us, spread lies or misinformation. We must be willing to speak truth to power and counter the ongoing attacks and misinformation taking place right now. My advice to those that are in this space, which is really all of us, is continue doing your work, the DEI work. Continue to lead with integrity and courage. And yes, speak truth to power. DEI benefits all of us. Thank you. Dr. King spoke truth to power, but some people did not always consider him to be a unifying figure. Even after winning the Nobel Peace Prize, Dr. King was denounced as an agitator, as a radical, sometimes as a communist. He was criticized at times by many people. Some people thought he was going too fast. Other people thought he was going too slow, that you shouldn't get involved with the Vietnam War or the rights of union workers. All of that criticism, do you think it deterred Dr. King? No way. He kept going. He kept going. And he's speaking up for people, especially the most vulnerable in our community. As one of my heroes, I've always been impressed how Dr. King approached everything with a nonviolent way. That's tough. Golly. Believe me, I struggle with that. Sometimes you just feel like, but we can't do that. That's not the right thing. You can't confront hate with hate. Love will prevail. He was not only able to listen to people. Someone said earlier, I think it was a young man that said, you can't just listen to people. You got to hear what they're saying, right? You got to hear them loud and clear. And Dr. King was able to do that. I'm almost there, Rochelle, So we're at a time now in 2024 where our nation is very polarized, and our faith in institutions are quite frankly diminishing. We continue to see more and more voter suppression bills, especially impacting communities of color. We continue to witness the legislative bills, over 450 in fact, across the U.S., that dehumanize individuals who identify somewhere in the spectrum of non-binary identities and gender expression. And the continued attacks on DEI, as I mentioned, those are just some. So if those things that you're voting for, you're supporting, don't align with Dr. King's vision, the things that he stood for, it's easy to show up a day and say, yeah, Dr. King. And I'm not trying to imply any of you are doing that. I'm just using that as an example that we're missing it there somewhere, okay? Some political leaders continue to strip the rights of women and the decisions they make about their own bodies. Based on a recent FBI report, the rise on anti-Semitism and hate crimes is at an all-time high. Look, I don't want to come in and, like, well, God, I mean, couldn't he have been more positive? This is reality. This is the reality that we're living in today. The list goes on and on and on. I'll stop there. However, we must remember that Dr. King's principle of love, respect, and nonviolence remain the same. And the focus on our shared humanity to build a just world is going to require all of us. It might sound overwhelming to build a just world. That being said, we don't have to fix the entire world. But I hope you would agree that we all have the responsibility to do what we can here in our own West Des Moines community. That includes where you work, where you play, where you go to school, where you shop, where you worship, etc. Working collectively towards the goal of creating a just world is possible, but it's not easy. So let's continue to honor Dr. King's legacy in our actions and not ever allow ourselves or anyone else to dehumanize those who have different political, cultural, religious, and differing views. Building a just world is an ongoing process, but we must be moving forward, not backwards. Forward, not backwards. And most importantly, we must do it together. Like my mom used to say, juntos. Everyone say juntos. Another word to Spanish vocabulary. One more time, juntos. Oh, be careful now. Don't put another word or letter in front of that. That could mean something totally different. We must also understand that just by saying that we believe in DEI, we value DEI, or believe the rights of all people, yes. You know what? That's not quite good enough. That's not quite good enough. We cannot just talk about it. We must act accordingly and advocate for everyone's voice to be heard and valued. So as we remember and pay tribute to this great man, Dr. King, let us draw inspiration from his unwavering dedication to solidarity and treating each other with respect and dignity, regardless of our differences. Leading with kindness and love can be challenging, but in the end, like I said earlier, love will prevail. I hope you believe that too. I believe if Dr. King were alive today, he would say we need both prayers. I believe in God. And however that unfolds for you, that's why we live in this great country, to have the choice to be able to worship or not. But we need prayers in action too. Those prayers should spur action. He was a bright light during his time in history that was very dark. I don't know if it's just me, but it seemed like that darkness is kind of creeping back into our society, to our present day. My hope is that wherever you go, whatever you do, that being individually or collectively, we can overcome that darkness. Never underestimate the power of being someone's light. In closing, my charge to all of us is this. The time is now. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, not 2 months, the time is now for us to recommit ourselves to the noble cause of unity, solidarity, and justice. Recognizing that it is through our collective efforts as human beings and the example that Dr. King set for us that we can endure these trying times. So that means whether you're white, black, brown, biracial, gay, straight, regardless of our religious, faith, or political differences, that we can truly honor Dr. King's remarkable legacy by living out his principles every day. And let me say it one more time, every day. You know, Dr. King, you can clap if you want, you can say amen, whatever you like, yeah. Dr. King was right. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. Don't you ever become silent about the things that matter. Those are the things I tell my son and my daughter. Don't ever become silent. My mom was right when she told me that day, when she was crying at the end, assassinated Dr. King. Someday you will know who this king was. But I will go further than that. It's not enough to know who King was and celebrate his legacy once a year. We must recognize that all of us have a significant role in building a just world, the world he dreamed of. My hope is that we continue to do that in our communities. I have one last thing, about 90 seconds. Please pay attention to this short video and process within your own self what you might be able to do at work, at school, wherever you may be. Self-reflect. That's a foundation of changing the world to be a just place. It starts with us. Play the video, please.
You know that little voice in your head? The one that tells you to ignore a tasteless joke. The one that tells you to keep quiet when a client makes a racist comment.
The little voice that tells you you're not smart enough because English isn't your first language.
Or that it's okay to judge someone for leaving early because they have family commitments. the one that tells you not to say anything when others are being reduced to stereotypes.
Or that it's not a big deal when everyone's opinion isn't considered.
You may think you're the only one that hears that voice, but that voice also speaks to other people. It says,
You're different. You're an outsider.
you lack commitment.
Your opinion doesn't matter.
Instead of listening to that little voice, you need to find yours and make it heard. It's time for all of us to speak up. Because when we change the dialogue, we can change our world.
Once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to share a few remarks, maybe a little longer than I was supposed to, but I thought it was important for us to have a conversation, not so much a conversation, but to address some of these points that I addressed today. And I hope that you don't forget to listen to your little voice and speak up. Enjoy the rest of the program.
And we want to express our appreciation and gratitude for Dr. Salas always speaking truth, right? Always willing to push us to be uncomfortable and to lean in. So with this, we want to give you a token of appreciation. Thank you, Dr. Salas. So at this time, we are going to bring up Catherine Harrington, President and CEO of the Western Moines Chamber of Commerce, who will introduce the scholarship and award recipients, and again, invite our students and award winners to come to the stage momentarily. So if you all can start coming towards the front of the stage so we can stay on track. Thank you.
All right. Hello, beautiful people in West Des Moines, Iowa. How we doing? Yes. I am so happy to be here. My name is Catherine Harrington. I'm the very proud president and CEO of the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. It is a true honor to be here with you today to present this year's West Des Moines Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Youth, it's a tongue twister, Youth Scholarship Honorees and Community Leadership Awards. I'm trying to rush because we're running out of time. Don't rush. I first want to congratulate Audrey Kinnis, chair of this event, and the entire committee for putting this together. It has been a wonderful event, and kudos to everybody involved, especially to Audrey. All right, this year's scholarship awards would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors this year. Thank you to Mid-American Energy, IMT Insurance, Salmon's Financial Group. I know Ann Cooper is right here in the front row, so thank you so much for your support. Each student today will be honored by receiving a $500 check that will go to their higher education goals. So very excited. Now, yes, exactly. Now to qualify, so everybody knows, these high school students had to apply and they would have had to have demonstrated the principles of Dr. Martin Luther King. They had to show visible and continuing leadership in education, religion, civil rights, and service to the community, and they have to be in West Des Moines. So this year, our committee selected the following quote, and everybody wove this through the event so beautifully today. Our lives end the day we become silent about the things that matter. And these students are the epitome of this bravery. They are the future leaders of our city and our country. And I'm so excited to watch their journeys to leadership grow. We had exceptional applications this year. We are so proud to present the winners. So here we go. Drum roll, please. Our first winner, yes, drum roll. We're in a gymnasium, so we can do some drum rolling. All right, our first winner and honoree is Melvin Byron. Melvin was nominated by Gianna Pugliese, Intercultural Outreach Coordinator and RISE sponsor. And her quote says, Melvin knows what it is like to have nothing. He also knows the impact of what having a loving, supportive community surround you can do. Help me welcome Melvin to say a few quick words.
Thank you. All right, can everyone hear me? Okay. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each person who has welcomed me here onto the stage. Special appreciation goes to my sponsor, Gianna Pugliese, whose support has been invaluable. I owe a profound debt of gratitude to my grandmother, who equipped me with the essential tools for resilience, and to my cousin, a steadfast presence in every challenge. Reflecting on my community endeavors, the realization of standing here today surpasses any initial aspirations. I am profoundly thankful for the journey I've been fortunate enough to undertake. Thank you sincerely. Alhamdulillah.
Congratulations. Oh my goodness. All right. Our second awardee is Yasser Samir. Yasser was also nominated by Gianna Pugliese. And in his application, she said, Mr. Yasser Samir is passionate, empathetic, courageous, and a true advocate, one that embodies the principles of Dr. Martin Luther King. Help me welcome Yasser to the stage.
In this moment of reflection, my heart brims with gratitude for the unwavering support of friends and family. A heartfelt thank you extends to Melvin Bryson, a fellow award winner, whose camaraderie has been invaluable, and to Gianna Pugliese, unfolded as a transformative odyssey beyond my imagination. This award, standing as a representative of my community, serves as a poignant reminder of shared struggles and triumphs. It is a humbling honor that not only recognizes individual efforts, but also embodies the collective spirits of resilience. With each step, I find a deeper sense of purpose fueled by the knowledge that I stand as a symbol of hope and possibility for others. To everyone who has been a part of this journey, your encouragement and belief in me have been the driving force as I stand on this symbolic platform. I carry not just an award, but a responsibility to continue contributing meaningfully to our shared tapestry of aspirations. Thank you from the depths of my heart for being the pillars of strength and inspiration in this incredible chapter of my life. Allahu Akbar.
All right. Our third honoree is Sir Michael Carrington Williams Thomas. If you were here for the multicultural panel earlier, you saw what an amazing young man he is. His nomination was from Deirdre Williams, who is Vice President, Organizational Effectiveness at EMC Insurance. And Deirdre says in her application, Sir Michael is a staunch advocate who believes that it is his moral responsibility to fight for what is right, as well as for those who do not have a voice. Help me welcome Sir Michael to the stage.
Good afternoon. It is with great honor and humility that I accept the 2024 MLK Jr. Youth Leadership Award. The recognition of my contributions to the community truly means a lot to me, and I am grateful to the selection committee for this incredible opportunity to stand here before you all today. As we celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I am reminded of his words that everybody can be great, because anybody can serve. These words have always been a source of inspiration for me, and they serve as a reminder that each one of us has the power to make a positive impact on the world around us. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to my family, mentors, who express gratitude and unwavering support and also commitment in shaping me into the person I am today. Without them, I would not be here standing before you as a recipient of this prestigious award. Once again, I would like to thank the selection committee for this honor, and I look forward to continuing to serve my community and make a positive impact on the world. Thank you.
All right. Amazing. The world is in great hands. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm very excited to present the West Des Moines Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Leadership Award winners. Past honorees of this award include Renee Hardman, Dr. Richard Salas, Rob Johnson, the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce, and Milton and Mary Cole. This year, we are excited to say we have two winners, one in the individual category and one in the organization category. The Community Leadership Award winner for 2024 is Al Womble. Al is the political director at the Iowa Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO, and was nominated by Dr. Dow Jock, Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion at West Des Moines Community Schools. In his nomination, Dr. Jock says, Mr. Womble is a passionate and steadfast community leader dedicated to uplifting the voices of historically marginalized populations through education and civic engagement. And more importantly, is always willing to step up and serve. And we all know that about Al. Al, please come to the stage and say one word. 1 minute, 1 minute words.
First, I want to thank Dr. Dow, who's one of the only people I know who's taller than me. And I'd also like to thank the Human Rights Commission. You know, to do this work, you cannot stand alone. And Dr. Martin Luther found that out in 1955 during the Montgomery bus boycott, when one time he gave a sermon that wasn't quite one of his best. And up to the front of the church came an elder from his church named Mother Pollard. And she said to him, "What's wrong, Dr. King? You did not speak strong tonight." And he hung his head and said, "Oh no, Mother Pollard, I'm feeling just as fine as ever." And as a stubborn black woman, she looked at him and said, "Now don't you lie to me. I know something's wrong with you. You have to remember when you stand up against troubles that we are going to be with you all the way. And even if we ain't with you, God is going to be with you." So when I stand up in this work, I stand with power because I know have standing with me is Rochelle Long, Renee Hardman, Regina Turner, Mary Madison, and the great Audrey Kenna stand with me. So when troubles get in my way and they pile up as high as a mountain, I say, "Mountain, move out of my way," because I stand with power. So I invite you to stand with me, celebrate racial equity and social diversity, our racial diversity we have here, and stand up so that we can be a better community and a better state that we can all be proud of. Thank you, West Des Moines.
Woo! Okay, inspirational. Holy mackerel. All right, our second honoree this year spotlights an organization who's celebrating their 125-year anniversary, who is a premier medical and health sciences institution and recently moved to beautiful West Des Moines. I bet you all can guess who this is. Dr. Richard Salas, Chief Diversity Officer for DMU, was this year's nominator. And please welcome to the stage Dr. Angela Franklin, who embodies unconditional love, nonviolence, social justice, and inclusivity. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here to receive this award on behalf of my wonderful group of individuals that I get to serve every year at Des Moines University. So it's a collective we. and stand on basic principles that are reflected every day in what we do. So I'm just going to end with one quote. There are several inspirational quotes already given from Dr. Martin Luther King. There's one in particular that kind of rises up today that kind of, in a nutshell, reflects who we are as an organization and what we stand for and what we represent as a team of individuals, all with one collective vision in mind. And it is, as I quote, "Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality." It's all about a team effort. It's all about us having a collective vision to serve, and we're proudly able to serve the community of the citizens of this community, the future health professionals, all those who believe in the basic principles of service. So thank you on behalf of Des Moines University, an amazing community of individuals I get to serve every day. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that concludes our awards. And we always like to end by saying, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, or who you love, you are welcome in West Des Moines. And I am now excited to turn the podium back to Audrey Kinnis. Thank you so much.
Okay, folks, well, listen, we are at the end of this program, but again, not at the end of the movement. So it continues beyond today. So I encourage you all continue, again, showing up, as Al talked about, show up for each other, right? Show up for community, but also identify your community. And it can't just be the ones that we solely identify with. They need to be other communities. That's what solidarity building looks like. So continue to build solidarity, continue to work together. We look forward to seeing you again next year. And at this time, I don't know what Councilwoman Hartman's doing, but thank you. So, okay, I'm sorry. Step aside.
Is our mayor present and city manager present still? If they are, I'd like them to come forward, please, to just be a part of what I'm going to do here. I know, Audrey. Just sit tight. You deserve this. Okay, Tom Haddon, would you please come forward? Greg and Matt, you all come forward as well. Any city council folks? Because this is our Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer. This is ours. West Des Moines claims her. We're proud of her. And I'm going to tell you this. While we had a committee working with Audrey, you know, behind every committee, it takes a person that keeps the glue going. Don't come to the last meeting changing nothing, because we can't have no time. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege. 4 years ago, we discussed at the council that we need to bring West Des Moines, to West Des Moines, our own Martin Luther King celebration. I was tired of tripping up and going all the way to Des Moines. I don't have anything against Des Moines. Don't take it the wrong way. But I'm like, we need to do something out west. And we need to start having our own celebration in West Des Moines. That was a dream 4 years ago. And this council supported it. I also said we need to be celebrating Martin Luther King Jr., and we need to have that as a holiday. And employees need to take a day off or day to do service. Yes, I know, Russ, do service. Okay. But 4 years ago, under Tom's leadership and the council voting on it, Martin Luther King became a holiday 4 years ago in the city of West Des Moines. It's about a dream. It's about wanting and fighting and pushing for what this is all about. But it takes support from these individuals here. Rush, you were on the council when we voted that in 4 years ago. Okay, I didn't have a fight at all. Otherwise, we were going to take it behind the room, but I didn't have to. We didn't have to. But Audrey, we're here. My mom has a phrase said, give them the flowers while they're alive. And on behalf of the council, we want to give you flowers to say thank you for always lifting us up. Thank you for always making us look good. And thank you for being the best person that's helping all of us be better. We love you so much, and we're so proud of you in the city of West Des Moines. So this is from all of us to say thank you.
Okay, no, make it. Okay. I'm going to just thank you again. We'll take a group photo, and for everyone else, I'll have you go to the back there, and we'll take a photo at the poster in the back. Thank you.
Come on, get near the mirror. Okay, get in the middle. Okay.
Good, good.